The title of my talk is Job, and obviously it's on the book of Job. And I'm going to open up in chapter 1, describing some about Job. It says, this was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, or there was one, and that man was perfect. Now, these words you have to understand, they are what they mean what they say. He was perfect, upright, and one that feared Elohim and eschewed evil. Anybody know what eschewed evil? Merriam-Webster says eschewed means to habitually, like we get up in the morning, make our coffee, or maybe we brush our teeth, or whatever we would do habitually, Job did with evil. Means he habitually eschewed or avoided evil. He made it his practice in everything. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 she-asses, and a very great household. So that this man was the greatest of all the men in the east. And his sons went and feasted in their house, every one his day. Maybe it was a birthday, maybe it was a day they just selected. Your turn this week, your turn next week, or whatever. And sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sacrificed them and rose up. And wait a minute, were gone about, that Job sent and sacrificed for them and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them, all of his children. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed Elohim in their hearts. Thus did he continually. So here is a man that fears our Creator. And when you see what our Creator says to the adversary, his word is not mistaken. His word can't be mistaken. Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before the Master, before Yah, and Satan also came among them. Why do you think Satan would be coming among the sons of Elohim? What is Satan known to be? He's accuser of the brethren. And Yah said unto Satan, whence come thou? Or where are you coming from? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it. And then Yahweh said, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? Now this is our Creator saying this. This isn't third hand, second hand, first hand. We have it written. There is none like him in the earth, perfect and upright man, one that fears Elohim and eschews evil. Then Satan said to Yahweh, and then Satan answered Yah and saith, doth Job fear Elohim for naught or for nothing? Hast not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Now, here is our Creator of the universe, the sustainer of all life, and even the sustainer of the life he's talking to, Satan. He created him. He can take him out. And here Satan is contending with our Creator. So when you look at Job, there are 3 main, I'm going to call players or characters in this event, this whole episode. Number 1 is our Creator, our Father in heaven, or Messiah, the Word. Number 2 is Satan. And number 3 is Job. They are the 3 main characters here. And our Creator is saying that Job is perfect and upright in all his ways. And he describes some of the things. And Satan says, oh, yeah, right. You bought his loyalty. You blessed everything he's got. Look at the number of cattle, his home, his children. This guy, you take all those things away, and he'll dump you. He'll trash you. He'll deny you. Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee to thy face. Now this is Satan making if you will, I'm going to use a modern vernacular, making a deal or a bet, if you will, with our Creator. Okay? And our Creator didn't say, no, you can't. He says, all right, don't touch his body or his life. And Yah said unto him, Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yah. And there was a day when his sons, you all know this, and then there was a great wind, the house collapsed. Then there were marauders that came and took the camels, took the she-asses, took everything he had. Gone. Absolutely gone in one day. Just like that. And Job, he rent his clothes, fell on his face, and he worshiped our Creator. Now today, brethren, what do we hear? How could God possibly let that happen? All of my children are gone. I have lost everything. What kind of a God would let that happen? All right. So all this is happening to Job. And also remember that our Creator allowed Satan to do this. It was not our Creator's will to do anything to Job. Job loved our Creator. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. Pretty plain, pretty simple. And our Creator, he loved Job. But I believe our Creator was going to use Job to beat Satan down, to teach him a lesson. You think you know. He didn't say that to Satan. All that he has, you can touch. Don't touch his life. So when you go through and read, you can read the whole thing. And then chapter 2 is the second assault on Satan. So Satan comes back again and to our Creator. And Job, after losing everything he had, his life was still intact. He didn't have the boils yet. He still didn't curse our Creator. And so Satan is pretty upset. He's got egg on his face. He lost the bet. Okay. Second assault on Satan, chapter 2. And again, there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yah, and Satan came among them to present himself before Yah. And Yah said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered, the same as he did before, going to and fro in all the earth, and from walking up and down. There was absolutely no remorse on this being's part. He destroyed that man's family and everything he had. And just walking around. Look. And Yah said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? And that there is none like him in all the earth, a perfect man, an upright man, one that feareth Yah, and eschews evil, and still he holds fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without a cause. We got to remember that. We got to remember that. Our Creator had no reason to himself to do anything to Job. But he kept his integrity. Lost everything. Zero. Went to the wealthiest man to the poorest man in one day. Probably in a matter of hours. But he still kept his integrity. And Satan answered Yah and said, all right. He didn't mention anything about losing the first bet. He just says, well, all right, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath he will give for his life. Put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee. And Yah said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, but save his life. Don't take his life. And then you can read in chapter 2, verse 11, Job had 3 friends, heard of this evil that was come upon him, and wait a minute, I'm missing a part here. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yah to smote Job with boils from the sole of his feet to the crown or to his head, and he took him a potsherd, Job did, to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes, and he said said his wife unto him, do you still retain thy integrity? Curse Elohim and die. So, all right. So he could touch his flesh, don't take his life, but there were no parameters to what Yah said he could not do as far as trying to convince Job. And Satan took advantage of every single one. Number one was his wife. And said the wife unto him, are you still going to hold your integrity? It's better to die. Curse him and die. But he said to her, he didn't get real upset with her. He said to her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good from the hand of Yah? And shall we not receive evil? In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. And then you can read in chapter 11 about the 3 friends that came. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all the evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him, to comfort him. But they did everything but that. But that. Now let's take a quick look at chapter 4. Let's pick it up in chapter 4. Now the subtitle I have in my Bible, Innocent Are Protected from Suffering. So that's what these guys were trying to beat him over the head with. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, if we essay to commune with thee, wilt thou be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? And then going down to verse 12, Eliphaz has this dissertation with Job. And then, now a thing was secretly brought to me, and mine ear received a little thereof. In thought from the visions of the night, and deep sleep falleth upon men, fear came upon me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. Then a spirit passed before my face, and the hair of my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I could not discern from thereof. An image was before mine eyes. There was silence, and I heard a voice saying, Now this spirit is speaking to Eliphaz, and this verse 17 of chapter 4 says, shall mortal man be more just than Elohim? Shall a man be more pure than his maker? Behold, he put no trust in his servants, and his angels he charged with folly. Which angels did he charge with folly? How much less in them that dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is the dust, which are crushed before the moth. They are destroyed from morning to evening. They perish forever without any regard regarding it. Doth not their excellency which is in them go away? They die even without wisdom. So, in your mind, what do you think the Spirit was doing to Eliphaz? He was priming him to get to Job. So before Eliphaz even gets with the rest of his other two guys, the other two cohorts, this Spirit sets up Eliphaz to beat Job over the head. And that is, you must have done something wrong. That is so classic of human nature. I've had it said to me, you must have done something wrong. Look at your children. I said, why is that? Why do I have to do something wrong? I taught them. I showed them. But at any rate, this Spirit is saying that how much less in them that dwell in the houses of clay. But you see, the adversary, I don't know if the adversary knew, but the Messiah was sacrificed from before the foundations of the world. So our Redeemer, does he put importance, or does he put value on man, these here clay balls, so as to speak? Yes, he does. He sent his only begotten Son. I believe the adversary already knew that. But he didn't want to lose this bet with our Creator. He was not willing to do that. So chapter 2, verse 7, we already went over that. Now, I want to just read a commentary about this Spirit. You can take it or leave it. But this was an evil spirit, perhaps Satan himself, diabolically implanting an accusation against Job in the mind of Eliphaz, which would be used later with telling effect to try to undermine Job's faith. The Spirit stressed Elohim's wrathful righteousness and man's sinful worthlessness, with no hint at all of Elohim's love and saving grace. This would be translated by Eliphaz into the conviction that Job must be, despite outward appearances, a sinner suffering Elohim's judgment. That was a commentary. But when you look at what these three men tried to do to Job, it becomes very obvious that that spirit was not from our Creator. Chapter 8. Now, Bildad, this is the first of Bildad's speech, his talk, I should say. Chapter 8, verse 5. If thou wouldest seek unto Elohim, betimes and make thy supplications to the Almighty, if thou were pure and upright, surely now he would awake for thee and make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. But you got to go back to verse 1, verse 2. And our Creator said of Job, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Elohim and escheweth evil. And these men are babbling on that Job was evil. You had to be doing something wrong. They are superficial in their judgments. They look at the surface. They have no idea what's in the heart. But our Creator does. He doesn't look at the surface. He doesn't know. He doesn't care what we look like. He knew what Job looked like. He was a mess. But he knew Job's heart, and he knew the man's integrity. These men, these three people who were supposed to come and comfort Job, did just the opposite. And my point in going through all these details is the adversary is the animator of all this. The adversary will use your wife, your friends, your family, whoever he can convince to beat you over the head and try to convince you that I give up. And Angelo's talk 2 weeks ago led into that. And we're still in the green here, brethren. We're in the green right now. I mean, it's no problem. But the time may be coming, still in our lifetime, when we may experience treacherous times, traitorous times, friends, family, perhaps even brethren that will attempt to do this. But we always remember who's behind it. The adversary is about to lose bet number 2. Because when you get to the end, he maintained his integrity. He said, even if our Creator takes me out, I will not deny him. And Satan is wroth with that. He's already got a lot of people in tow. But that's not what he's looking for. He hates our Creator. He's very envious. And he'll be aware. He will use whatever he has at hand. Chapter 11. Zophar is speaking. This guy, Zophar, was the Naamathite, and said, should not the multitude of words be answered, and should a man full of talk be justified? Should thy lies make men hold their peace? Now Zophar is the second guy. Eliphaz was the first one. Okay, you must have done something wrong. Zophar, you're just babbling and spitting out all these lies. Of course, Job responds to these men, but they keep telling him your response is based on lies. Well, what did our Creator say about Job? That's what these three guys don't know. And Job doesn't know it. Job doesn't know that there is a bet between Satan and our Creator. Our Creator knows that Job's going to stay there. He already knows it. He has no doubt. He trusts Job because his spirit is in Job. Job's demonstrated his loyalty. But these three men, and Job himself doesn't know why. And Job even talks about his own life. Boy, if I were just a stillborn or never born. The man's talking out of his great pain. He lost his family, all his possessions. His wife wants him to curse our Creator. And now he's sitting on a pile of ashes or a dump somewhere with boils from head to toe. And he's scraping these boils with a piece of broken pottery. I guess maybe he's trying to break them open. The pain is incredible. So, and that is all very clear in here, but yet he holds his integrity. Next question, brethren. Can we do that? Will we be able to do that? But Job put his faith and trust in our Creator. Chapter 15. This is Eliphaz again. Now, these guys are going back and forth. Eliphaz speaks, beats him over the head some, and then Bildad comes up and speaks, but they're all saying the same thing. And then after Eliphaz comes Zophar. Zophar comes up, beats him over the head, and then in the end, Elihu steps in. Elihu's something else. But at any rate, chapter 15, verse 6. I'll pick it up in verse 2, chapter 15. 15, verse 2. Should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speeches wherewith he can do no good? Yea, thou cast off fear and restraints, pray before Elohim. And for thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongues of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. And going down to verse 12, why doth thine heart carry thee away, and what do thy eyes wink at, that thou turnest thy spirit against Elohim, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth? Now this was Eliphaz again. Now Eliphaz was first, then Bildad, and Eliphaz comes back again. And he's telling Job, you're an evil man. But wait a minute, what does our Creator say? So, it may not be the easiest thing to do, brethren, but try to picture yourself in this position. And always bear in mind, the one who wants to take you out, or the animator of this evil that has come upon you, is the adversary. Our Creator has given him permission, and he had to get the permission. He had a hedge around him. He wasn't getting near Job. And our Creator said, all right, you do this. Okay, you can do that. And our Creator may do that with any one of us. But don't throw in the towel. Because in the end, you see what happens with Job. Okay, let's get down to chapter 16. I want to try to get through this quickly if I can. There's a lot of chapters here. I have heard many such things, miserable comforters are ye all. And this is Job's response. You guys, now remember, these guys were supposed to come and comfort Job. And Job says, you guys are just a bunch of miserable people. Comforters are ye all? Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeth thee that thou answerest? What in the world are you talking about? What gives you the boldness to make these comments? You don't know what you're talking about. But you know, brethren, these three men are transposing onto Job exactly their own character. They are transposing onto Job what they themselves were like in their hearts and in their own minds. Anyway, chapter 19, verse 25. This is Job. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. This is after he's been beaten over the head for almost 18 chapters. Okay. And then chapter 20, Zophar picks up again. Zophar is the third one. Chapter 20, verse 19. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Now, they're accusing him of stealing, working the poor over, okay, and just being a violent man. But what did our Creator say? Do you think our Creator knows the heart of this man? You can see how blatant these lies are, and he was one of the most powerful men in the East. When I say powerful, maybe the wealthiest men. And our Creator knew his heart. Our Creator loves him. But he hath, and these guys are saying, well, you've taken houses violently, you've oppressed the poor. Not so. Chapter 22. And this is Eliphaz. Zophar, then Eliphaz again. Chapter 22, verse 5. I'll start in 4. Will he reprove thee for fear of thee? Will he enter with thee into judgment? Is not thy wickedness great and thine iniquities infinite? But you can see why he would respond to these guys and say, no, I have not done that. Chapter 28, verse 12. And then Job observes that man cannot discover wisdom. And he goes on speaking about our Creator. In verse 11, he says, chapter 28, verse 11, he bindeth the floods that from overflowing, and the thing that is hid bringeth he forth to light. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man knoweth not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The depths say, it is not with me, and the sea saith, not me. It cannot be gotten for gold, neither silver, weighted for the price thereof. It cannot be valued, and the gold of Ophir with the precious onyx or the sapphire. And he goes on to say, in verse 23, Elohim understandeth the way thereof, wisdom he's talking about, and understanding, and he knoweth the place of it, for he looketh to the ends of the earth, and see under the whole heavens, to make the weights of the winds, and the weightieth the waters in a measure. So Job understands, and he's telling these guys, where you guys don't have any wisdom at all. It's not available here on earth. Our Creator knows what it is and where it is. He created it. All right, I'm going to move on to verse 32. And Elihu responds to the older man, and this is a young man. So I'll pick it up a little bit in verse 1. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Now, this is what I've always heard from those who gave talks about Job, that he was righteous in his own eyes. In essence, he was self-righteous. But that's not what our Creator said to Satan. He's a man that's perfect and upright. Okay, he doesn't understand everything, but he eschews evil, and he avoids evil like the plague, and he even prays for his own children just in case they may have sinned. So they think he's righteous in his own eyes. Then was kindled the wrath of Elihu, the son of Barshel, the Buzite, of the kindred of Ram, against Job, was his wrath kindled because he justified himself rather than Elohim. Job said, I will not curse him even down to death. But remember, the adversary is animating these people. All three of these, Elihu or Eliphaz, Zophar, and Bildad, all ganged up, repackaged what Eliphaz said, and threw it right back at Job. They couldn't find anything wrong with him. So I said, you must have done something wrong. You stole, you were violent. Then was killed. Then toward the end, after these men spoke, Elihu, he chimes in. And then he goes on to say, also against these three friends has the wrath been kindled because they had found no answer and yet had condemned Job. Well, how about that? And now Elihu had waited till Job had spoken because they were elder than he. When Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these men, then his wrath was kindled. Okay. let's go to chapter 33. Now you get an idea of what this young Elihu was like. Chapter 33, verse 3. I'll pick it up in verse 1. Wherefore, Job, I pray thee, hear my speech, and hearken to my words. Behold, now I have opened my mouth, my tongue, and hath spoken in my mouth. My words shall be of the uprightness of my heart, and my lips shall utter knowledge clearly, or purely. The Spirit of Elohim hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. If thou canst answer me, set thy words in order before me, stand up. Behold, I am, according to thy wish, in Elohim's stead. I also am formed out of the clay. This is a man much younger. And Elihu goes on to say, I am clean without transgressions. I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me. Now, who is self-righteous? Who is the self-righteous one here? Behold, he findeth occasion against me. He counteth me for his enemy. He putteth my feet in the stocks. He marketh my path. For Elohim speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth not. In a dream, in a vision, at night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumbering upon the bed, then he opened the ears of men, and sealeth the instructions. So he's just reiterating what Eliphaz said. I had this dream, and this spirit, he thought it was the spirit of our Creator, said the man's no good at all. That's not what our Creator said. Surely thou hast spoken in my ear, and I have heard the voice of thy word, saying, I am clean without transgression, I am innocent with thee. All right. Elihu answers Job's complaints. I am clean without transgression, I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me. Some say that is Job. He's reiterating Job's words. But at any rate, 33. All right, let me get down to 14. For Elohim speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumbering upon his bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction. So, is Elihu talking about Eliphaz's dream? And the spirit of Elohim gave it to Eliphaz. All three of them reiterated the same thing. Speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. And so in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon him in slumber, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instructions. So is he saying that the three of us, actually the four of us, are telling you exactly what our Creator said as received by Eliphaz, and you are not hearing it? So, chapter 38. Eliphaz goes on for 6 chapters. Job does not respond to him. Bildad, Zophar, and Eliphaz. Elihu goes on for 6 chapters. Bildad, Zophar, and Eliphaz does not respond to him, but our Creator does in verse 38. Let's see. Verse 38, starting in verse 1. So after Eliphaz, or Elihu, is all done with his dissertation, our Creator says, maybe he's had enough. Then Yah answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel without knowledge? So the last one to speak was Elihu. And he said, Who is this? It's interesting. And then verse 3 of 38, he says to Job, Gird up thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answerest thou me. Where were thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? He can go on. Who hath laid the measures thereof? Whereupon are the foundations fastened? And the morning stars together, all the sons of Elohim sang, so did the stars. Or who shut up the sea, when I made the clouds and the garment thereof, and the thickness darkness, and break up break up for it my decree, place set bars in the doors. Well, on the sea, you can come no further. And hitherto shalt thou come. Hath thou commanded the morning since the days, and caused the day spring? So there's 77 of these. Our Creator is talking to Job. And Job in chapter 40. Elohim demands an answer. Chapter 40. Moreover, Yah answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth Elohim, let him answer it. So, and then in verse 3 of chapter 40, Then Job answered Yah and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth. Okay. Then chapter 42, he goes on to say, Then Job answered Yah again. Job confesses that he does not understand. No, he does not understand why this has happened to him, and he does not understand how all these things were made. But then Job answered Yah and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. And in verse 5, I have heard of thee. Let's pick it up in verse 4. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. In verse 5, I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eyes see thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And then let's pick it up, the rest of this. Now, Job repents not of the accusations or the sins that Bildad and the other three, or the four, accused him of. Job did not understand why these things were happening. And before I close, I'd like for us to turn to Isaiah chapter 55. We may find some very interesting things in here. Job chapter 55, 6 through 13. Okay. Pick it up in verse 6. Seek ye Yah while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yah. And he will have mercy upon him, and to our Elohim, for he will abundantly pardon. In verse 8, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yah. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So we have to remember that too, brethren. When we look at what's happened here to Job, and it may even happen to us, he does not give an account to us. We give an account to him. Chapter 42, verse 7. And it was so that after Yah had spoken these words unto Job, that Yah said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends. For ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore take unto you 7 bullocks, 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamite went and did according as Yah commanded, and also accepted. Yah commanded them. Yah also accepted Job, and Yah turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also Yah gave Job twice as much he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren and all his sisters, and they and all that had been of his acquaintances before, and did eat bread with him in his house, and they bemoaned him and comforted him all over the evil that Yah had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every man an earring of gold. So Yah blessed the latter end of Job more than the beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keaz, and the third, and you can read all that. And in all the land were no women found so fair as his daughters of the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among the brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. So, brethren, we have to be very careful. It's easy. If we were, try to put yourself in Job's place, would we cave? Would we cave? I hear a lot of people saying, I've heard it many times, I could never believe in a God that will let this sort of thing happen. At any rate, I'd like to close with Revelations chapter 12. Revelations chapter 12. And verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night. And brethren, we don't even know all of his tricks and his maneuverings. He makes useful idiots out of people, like Bildad, Zophar, and Eliphaz in a dream. They believed it. He believed it. And they projected this onto Job, and Job was still a righteous man to our Creator. He never, ever cursed him. Guess who the loser was? Who was the loser in this whole thing? Satan. And was he happy about that? Absolutely not. And if you notice in these comments, in the verses, he never mentions anything about the destruction pain and suffering he brought upon. Our Creator does. Our Creator says, I let you motivate me or move me to destroy this man without a cause. What was Satan's response? Yeah, but skin for skin. He's a poor loser. But brethren, remember, we've been bought with a price, and we have to remain faithful. He loves us, and that's obvious. If we can't see that, then we need to get some spiritual correction in our vision. But at any rate, he loves us. He loved Job, but he does not always respond or answer. Gives us answers. Why am I going through this? Job, he was using Job as a lever to make Satan look bad. And he did it twice. And when you step back and look at that, that was an honor. And he honored Job in doing that. And in the end, he dismissed the adversary and restored Job twice. And I guess it doesn't say he had a new wife, so I guess his wife stayed with him. And maybe she repented also. But stay the course, brethren, and keep the faith.